Hey YouTube, my name is Matt Schwartz and I'm the Welding Geek. This episode, I'm going to be making this right here, my aluminum codpiece, so stay tuned to the video. Alright, our codpiece build. I've skipped the step of showing you guys how I go ahead and cut these pieces out with cutting out the templates and pasting and doing all that. I've already shown that 3 or 4 times now, no need to show that again. But these pieces are made out of 063 3003 aluminum, and the first step I'm going to do here is the slip roller. On a slip roller, you've got a couple sets of screws that adjust that bottom die there to raise and lower it on both sides, so you can actually roll on a taper if you'd like, but I'm just going to do these evenly. You want to start lower so it doesn't put as much of a radius on your part, because you always want to work up to the radius you want, otherwise you can go too far and end up screwing it up. So you don't want to do that, so sneak up on it. I've got no set radius that I'm going after. I'm just kind of eyeballing this right now. It doesn't have to be anything. So I'm just gonna roll this until it looks good, and then I'll move on to the other piece. This is just a top accent piece, which will make more sense here in the future. So now that I have this piece how I want it, I'm going to probably go ahead and lower this die down both sides here and give it its slight roll. Just making sure it's not going too far. Now that it's tighter radius, I'm going to start and move to the center, turn it around, start and move to the center, because when you start putting that more drastic radius in there, it will actually, as you're bringing it into the machine, it kinks it a little bit, so you just want to mirror that both sides so it looks symmetrical. Now that I'm happy with the radius, I'm going to go ahead and move on to forming the piece I'm going to weld onto the bottom plate there, which I'm not going to do in the slip roller. I'm going to form this piece by hand. And I'm going to do that by grabbing a tube with the same radius as the tip there. I'm just going to put this on this other die, and since 3003 is semi-soft, I'm just going to roll this over this tube by sheer brute force, like so. I'm going to go ahead and keep tweaking this until I'm happy that the gap's a decent gap for TIG welding. Just going to keep on working this with my hands so I can clock the part. Once I peel the plastic off here, you can see there's a center line marked on this piece here. I'm going to use my center punch to mark the top of it on there. A little center punch there. And I'm also going to draw a center line on the main cod piece. Using these 2 holes, just going to put a little mark on there. Like so. I'll go ahead and hit that with the center punch as well. What that will do for me when I peel the plastic off here, it will make it so I can clock that cap piece on there correctly. Like so. First thing I'm going to do here is drop down my tungsten flat so I can try to tack this freehand. I have a little trouble here because there's a little plastic residue left from the plastic that I was grinding, so it takes me a minute here to get this tacked on there, but there, I got it. And this fuse tacks. Now I'm just going to TIG weld this top seam with a nice fat weld that I can dress off. Not really worrying about the look of this weld since I'm going to be taking it off. I just want to make sure it's a big enough weld that will dress down to a nice corner. The inside weld I'm going to take my time with and try to make it look nice, even though it's going to be get covered up by foam. Any weld that I'm leaving, I want it to look nice. That's that. Next step I'm going to do is dress off this weld using an 80 grit pad, an angle head grinder, using my wax. I'm going to dress off to the top plane first, then I'm going to dress off to the cap plane with the 80 grit. Just trying to break the weld all the way down to the parent material there. Trying to make a line almost on the two different planes. And now that I got it down, I'm going to switch over to a Scotch-Brite pad. And I'm going to smooth it out, making it look nice and tidy and clean. And if I was going to polish this, I'd take it a little further, but I'm not. I'm going to sandblast it and it's going to get painted, so I just want it to look pretty good, not perfect. So it's a nice tidy little corner on there. Next step is going to be to sandblast it. So I went ahead and got these sandblasted, and now I'm going to cut out my foam pieces that I'm going to back this cod with. So I just outline those big, give myself plenty of room so I don't short myself. Cut it out with a razor blade. I'm going to use what's called High Strength 90 by 3M spray adhesive. I'm spraying both sides so it's a nice bond. You need to let it dry, like I think they say a minute. I didn't give it too much time, so I peeled it back here to blow on it to let it set off. When you have a tight curve like that, I just like to put a relief cut on the back side to make sure it gets down nice and tight and doesn't pull out the foam off of the aluminum. Then you're going to use a brand new razor blade to go ahead and trim the foam off. Foam kills razor blades. That's why it needs to be a nice new one to get a nice clean cut on there. This still won't be a perfect cut. So I'll go ahead and get that trimmed off like that, and then I'm going to use this Scotch-Brite pad to put a nice finish on the foam to make it look like one piece when it's painted. And make it look like it's a 1/4 inch or 5/16 thick instead of just the 1/16 that it is. So when that's painted, it will look like one piece. Next step is just to simply pop out these mounting holes that I have in here, so I can press in the PEM studs that I use to secure the accent piece and to secure the cod piece to my belt. It's just a simple 3/16 drill bit and a 3/16 hole for the PEM studs. And this will bolt onto the top of the cod piece just like that. I'm going to use my PEM studs like I always do. I'm going to press them first into the accent piece using a 1/2 inch 1032 PEM stud. And the little tool I'm using to press in is just a piece of tube, a thick wall tube. Press it down. You could probably hammer these in with a regular hammer too. You don't need a press. I'm putting these ones in the opposite way because I'm bolting it. The codpiece has to be tucked, so I'm putting them out so I can. But I ended up screwing them up a little bit, so I had to press them down a little bit because the foam is not kind. I'm pressing in those things. As you can see, it kind of warps it out a little bit. So I go ahead and use it to straighten it out. Now I'm just going to go ahead and bolt on the accent piece with a 1032 jam nut. I'm going to ratchet it down so there's no gaps anywhere. So when I paint it, it all looks like one piece. This is what a codpiece looks like when I'm done. Alright, that's the video on how I made this awesome codpiece. If you enjoyed it, if you're liking my content, please subscribe, comment, like the videos, and stay tuned for some more. We got knees coming up, I think, next, and I'll show you how I went about doing those. Another lunchtime build. Yep, my name's Matt Schwartz, and I am the Welding Geek.